Hey, hello everyone. How you doing? Wednesday noon my time, and this is kind of a little unusual for me to be on at noon. But any case, well, wow, there's a lot of people here already. Well, hello everyone. How are you? There's looks like there's about six of us, and that's a good sized crowd, isn't it? Well, it's doubling. So, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Um, Reason why I'm doing this at noon, was going to do this tonight, but we have had some very uh, electrical weather. Besides torrential rains, we have the good possibility of another electrical storm that we had last night. Was wow. I got to tell you what, it was intense, and my dog is still in therapy over that because hello, Lost in Space. Hello, Angie. Hello, Hidden Harvest. How are you doing? I know Brian Milky Way Weekly, he is heading west. He's out on the road somewhere. We wish him a safe journey as he makes his way across the southwest part of the United States. So, um, hope everyone is doing well. Strange things are happening. And I thought that just to show you how interesting our skies are getting to be, in the coming next 3 weeks in our nighttime sky, you will begin to be able to see this comet that I did a video on. Just look in the archives. This comet is got astrophysicists shaking their heads, scratching their head. It is bright, folks. It's bright. And when I say bright, I mean like solar system bright. We don't know what it is. We know the comet. It's just doing some very interesting things. We have the opportunity to see an actual nova that is taking place in our nighttime skies. And we are now 4 years, 3 months, give or take, of the event. We know it's happening. We know it's going to happen. We have measured it, but we will see the collision of two binary stars, and they're not that far away from us, about less than 10,000 light years away, which astrologically, that's not that far. So lots of strange things happening in the sky. I wanted to share with you, give me a second. I pulled up, here we go. So this is from nasa.gov. 20 years, folks, and this animation, all of what you're seeing here, and I'll see if I can actually open it up in a separate tab. Yeah, there we go. So take a look at this. Now, here is us right here. And then Mars is out here, Jupiter. But this is all the known objects that we have identified and are tracking. Now, when you look at that, I don't know how you can walk away and not realize that the picture most of us have of our solar system is an illusion. When I look at this, I look at a debris field. And I am sure that if Dr. Albers was with us, she would concur with this as well. You can say that this is the leftover remnants of the formation of our solar system. Okay. I think another theory is that we're seeing the remnants of what was another planet, maybe two. Another possibility is that we are in and have been, as Dr. Albers has postulated, for almost 200 years in a debris field. And if you look in here into the back in the animation, you can see we know that there's even more out there. That's a scary thought. It, I think, brings to light how much, and I'll speak for myself on this, so much of what you grow up with in a core knowledge base, and I'm a versed person. I've always loved astronomy. It has been a passion of mine since a child. My dad worked for NASA. So it always has fascinated me where the Earth was, not only to where our sun was, relationship with the other planets, but the formation of the gas giants. We're understanding more of that, but where we are in the Milky Way, etc. And again, I think this animation just shows, you can see why now Earth has had extinction level events. It's amazing to me, to be candid with you, that we're not having more collisions and impacts. Wanted to show this to you as well. So we talk about this on the Monday night show. Here is again Jupiter. I mean, seriously, is there, do they know something that we don't? You know, it's like one of those real estate things when you're looking at property and you want to see what the other sales are around the area, and, you know, determines, you know, price, etc. So here's Jupiter, picks up another 24 moons. And then you've got this squirrely moon that is in retrograde to all the other moons. Now, I can dig it. You know, listen, I love a rebel. I love a person that will, you know, stand out and stand up and be noticed. Hey, that's cool. Walk your own path. That's what it's all about. But you got to admit, this is pretty ballsy. It really is. I mean, you got this moon saying, hey, up the rest of y'all, I'm heading out in this direction. Eventually, it's going to get smacked. But live bright, live fast. So let me get back here. Excuse me one second. There we go. I'm back. So pretty cool stuff. I mean, our solar system is changing. Now, since I've had Dr. Albers on, and her and I got together and we have our show every Monday night, we have the opportunity to hear from a physicist their observations. And what amazes me is that as much as some of the theories put forth have a, well, it's opposite of what we've been taught. And so you have this moment of cognitive dissonance. You're going, now, wait a minute. This is what everyone else is saying, but this is what observation is saying. So when I begin to realize that what we've been taught, what we see, listen, I've taken enough pictures. If you'll go back into my very early stuff, I mean, I've done, I think, 735 videos now. But if you go back on the very early stuff, all it was when the Earth was going through something. I don't know what it was going through. I was fortunate enough to document it. And it was spectacular. Was it the beginning? Was it a continuation? I don't know. But I know this. I've caught enough anomalies from an observer that for me, I don't need to be convinced. And that's how belief systems are. We all have our core beliefs, and, depending on where you are, those beliefs can either change or be static. So when Dr. Albers talks about the fact that our star, our sun, is going dark. Now, I know because I see the comments, and I am a logical person as well, and you're going, well, the sun's pretty big. How can we have a simulator? I've done videos on that. Something's glitching up there. I don't know what, but something is. A simulator, seen the patents. I've seen the actual devices. All right. Can they emulate the sun? Listen, I'm taking it for granted that the sun is 1 AU away, 94 million miles. I don't know. I don't know how to judge space in that manner. But I do know the integrity of the person to whom I associate with, and integrity counts everything for me. And so years ago, when Dr. Albers began to look at what was going on, it became fascinating to me. Now, the idea of the sun going dark at all is, well, that screws with your head. Gotta admit that going, okay. Blinking, wow, Judy, I just saw your comment there. Very interesting. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing? Cosmic Christy, how you doing? So, hi, Robert. Good to see y'all. So, here's the deal. A minute, the sun blinks. Okay. Now, I saw the eclipse last year. I know what an eclipse looks like. Some strange stuff going on with that eclipse. I know myself, my wife, our dog, my stepdaughter as well. We all got sick. I mean, the time we got home, we were sick. I mean, physically sick. So, and some of the strange pictures my cameras caught. Anyway, so when I think about the sun going dark, okay, for let's say 3 minutes, that's a good period of time. I mean, I know what happened when we were in that. The temperature drops. The light snakes were really weird. I got to tell you what, that gives you a sense of vertigo. But so I'm leading up to something, and it's like, all right, Steiger, would you just get with the point? I can dig it. So let me pull this up for everyone, and then we're actually going to. So the Siberian times, remote Russian towns were plunged into total darkness for several hours last week, sparking rumors of a secret Kremlin weapons test, UFOs, or even the devil's work. Don't even get me started on the devil's work. I swear, people, if you weren't let's just say knowledgeable enough, you would think that this devil cat was actually the main dude. Anyway, mystery surrounds the sudden appearance of a massive black cloud that turned day into night across an area bigger than the British Isles. And I've pulled it up for you. We'll see it. It went on to say, and there were claims the terrifying phenomenon could have been caused by the dust from a meteorite strike. Russia's been getting hit. It's like it's on the freaking bullseye. Or the test of an apocalyptic weapon. Other explanations for mystified locals are a UFO, an unreported eclipse, the work of the devil, or smoke from unidentified wildfires. Moscow's defense and meteorological officials have failed to comment on the cloud, which hit 3 vast, mainly Arctic districts in the Yakutia region. There are no reports of meteorites, eclipse, or weapon tests, let alone sightings of alien spacecraft. Residents reported darkness beginning around 11:30 a.m. and lasting almost 3 hours on Friday. Gloom descended on Inovo by, don't even ask me. I wouldn't insult them town. I'm just glad I don't live there because I wouldn't know how to spell the place. Anyway, but none of these districts have been hit with wildfires that are raging in other Siberian locales. The areas are so far north that at this time of year, they have virtually 24-hour light. But as one local said, day suddenly turned into a dark night. Another said, I couldn't see a thing without switching on lights. We took torches to walk outside. Well, okay, that's dark. But actually, no one wanted to be on the street because the feeling was as if something heavy in the air was pressing on your chest. Come on, folks. A lot of you who are enlightened empaths, this is a clue. Accounts spoke of a thick layer of dust after the darkness, but this has been denied by some officials who also expressed doubts that pollution from wildfires was the cause. So what do we got here? Massive dark cloud, people feeling something like pressure on their chest. A local official of the Nizhyn, I guess that is, if some of you folks who can speak Russian, probably, like I said, I'm not even going to touch it. Settlement said, at first it looked like it was a strong thunderstorm coming. The air went dark and got darker and darker. But this time, unlike anything else we have seen before, the darkness had a rich yellow undertone. So let's think chemical. That's what I'm thinking. Konistan heard the settlement said, when the sun vanished, people started calling us. I bet they did. Many got scared, especially the elderly people, which is probably logical. Many elderly people, very religious based, and this kind of stuff fits right into that wheelhouse. The sun was gone from 11:30 until 1400 on Friday, July 20th. Head of the town was quoted by the Siberian Times saying something strange happened on that day. Almost all Arctic districts reported a significant temperature fall around the time of the daytime darkness. Okay, let's take some pictures of here. Now, I pulled this up so that you can see this. This is the North Pole, 90 degrees, 78.3 midway, and then you get down to the Arctic Circle. And we're right here, July 21st. So this shows sun all day. In the mid-range, sun all day. Even below the Arctic Circle, you're getting 20 and a half hours of daylight. Another just simple graph chart showing you where the sun is at. And where we're going to be looking at, they are up here. So here is what the cameras began to capture. And I look at this and you can see why one would think that it would be a raging forest fire. Hey, listen, I live in Colorado. That's exactly what they look like. Yellow smoke is very much a byproduct of what would be a wildfire. But I did notice this triangle object up here. Not saying that has anything to do with anything. Now, this is the sun. It's going quite a transformation. And when I show you on the maps, this will really resonate. Now, I've caught pictures of the sun. I don't know if this is smoke, haze. They say that there was no fires around. Again, you can see how everything became like, and by the way, the officials said as well, there is no pollution. Birds seem to be going in erratic locations. This is the sun right up here. Now I look at that and I'm going, okay, got rather small there, didn't it? I don't know. Again, take a look at this. Now, I think that that's pollution. That's what I would say here, but they're saying no. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Yep. Getting dark. Now, this is midday. That's dark. And then it starts getting light. So, pretty odd, is it not? Now, let me show you where they are at. Here they are. Right there. So here you see the Siberian Sea. They're up here at the Arctic Circle, right above it. Little community there. I pulled them up here. So right in this region right here. Now it's bigger than the British Isles. So the question becomes, are we seeing and by the way, look how cold it is here. I thought that was really interesting. So they're experiencing cold weather. Let me kind of pull this back. Wanted to get what the temperatures are. So look at this, 49 degrees. Let's pull it over here. Summertime here, folks, 48 degrees, 42 degrees. I mean, that's cold. They say that this is not normal. They've had a very cold summer. And then you get areas right off over here where, again, you can see it's not. So anyway, wanted to show this to you, by the way. This was Kilauea. This is where you used to be able to go down. You could actually see the observatory right through here. When my wife and I got married, we actually rented a helicopter, flew over that many times. Look at it now. Where the observatory was in the museum, ain't there no more. This is, and it's getting bigger. So yeah, that is an interesting thing. So I said, well, let's go take a look at what SDO is saying about the sun. And because I wanted to show they're back up now. So for this object we call our sun to go dark, well, it kind of defies logic and understanding, doesn't it? But when you begin to think about the fact that I have been reading, and there is a gentleman who actually put a video out on this, and I was very much taken with his hypothesis. Now, he has taken ancient books, Bible, number of them. The Mayans, I think, is what he was basing his research on. The Mayans talk about the sun in different colors. Now, that's interesting when you think about the sun. Let me get back over here, in different colors. Talks about a yellow sun, talks about a white sun, talks about a blue sun, a red sun. I find that very interesting. And apparently, the sun, when it changes very quickly. So getting back to what happened in Russia, what did those people experience? Let's see, DIY. I'm going to start looking in the chat room, folks. So 2 major dust storms from the Sahara Desert that has gone into most countries by now. Yes, and Dallas, Texas, for all of those of you who live in Texas, that if you're taking a break, that's what you're doing. If you're listening to me, dust storm. Now, I can't remember a time that the dust made it that far. That's going to have implications for weather. So yes, my question about the Russian phenomenon is what happened on the direct opposite position of the Earth during the same hours. Good question, Claudette. So that would have been darkness. Did someone see an opposite effect? Yeah, I can't imagine a cloud becoming so dense in the middle of the day that it completely obscures all light. I don't know. I don't know how you can do that. Anja, you said, yeah, I've seen a yellow one, white, and a purplish. Now, you know, I started thinking about this when I was a child, still am, but when I was in a child's body, I remember a yellow sun. You know, there were times down in Texas, you know, I grew up on a farm down there, that in February, you know, those winds from the north would blow in and we would get into this really nice straw grass. You could get into the center of it, and the sun was low on the horizon. It was yellow, but today it's white. So go figure. Mars is having a severe dust storm as well. Yeah. So what's going on? I mean, something is happening. I'm not one who believes in prophecy. There was a time when I was hell-bent on that it was going to be this way. Again, you know, for me, prophecy means that none of us have any free will. No matter how much you want to argue it, if prophecy is legit, then we're just merely playing roles to fulfill an eventuality. However, I do believe this. I believe that you can actually tap into knowledge. I put myself a note here before I came on. How many of you know of the looking glass device? I'm just trying to see, and I'm just kind of waiting to see. Well, the looking glass device is a device that they have in Area S4. And I keep on asking myself, did someone activate that? I mean, just crazy stuff. I mean, if the heavens themselves weren't becoming a spectacle, and by the way, if you study and you read the ancient manuscripts, they saw a crazy heaven as well. We've just been in kind of this lull period that I wonder if we just were like in between crest of waves. You know, I used to surf, loved it. And, you know, you wait for that swell coming up, and then, of course, you try to catch it. So Let's see. Claudia said the dust could be from the stellar cores. Yeah, I mean, you begin to think about it now. I was watching a program and it was talking about stars that explode. And we're about to see one here. I'm going to get my notes again in about 4.5 years or so. And this material is shot out nearly at the speed of light, and it's stellar matter, stellar cores. So getting back to our folks in Siberia, what did they experience? I mean, that's a pretty good size. I want to go back and take a look at that again. It really is a good size area. I mean, it's not by any means small. And this is the area it happened in right here. So I don't know. That's a large space to be conducting an experiment. I thought when I was researching this before I came on live was that, well, what if a stellar core actually came across this area? Its path would not be the same as our sun, but it would come in and kind of, I think, could even do like a U shape coming in. This is what I'm thinking about. Let me get the annotation on. So, what if you had something come in like that? And then it would have this area that would be potentially covered, in which it was, in total darkness at noon above the Arctic Circle. Shouldn't be that way. Anyway, it's at noon. Shouldn't be that way to begin with. And so I keep on asking myself, well, what's really going on here? I don't know. I know something is. So let me get out of this thing. That was a pause. So there you go. Got to say, Wayne, a stellar core was my first thought as well. Would explain the shadow and the air disturbance. Thought of that when I first saw a report a couple of days ago. Yeah, it's immediately what I was drawn to. It was like, listen, if the Russians have got something that can literally cut the sunlight out, then folks, we got a lot more to be concerned about. I don't think they do. I hope they don't. Because if it means if they do, then I am sure that someone over here on our side is either got it, building it, or soon to have it. And if we got one, then I wonder about the Chinese, because the Chinese ain't going to be left out. So if we got technology floating around the world that can obfuscate the sun, folks, that's a bad thing. It's a very bad thing. Hold on. My dog is dreaming. Dancer. Hey, Dancer. You have to excuse me. She is literally right here and she was dreaming. It was funny seeing her run. But in any case, I have a soothing voice, even for my dog. She was like, okay. Well, Greg, I'm glad you're not concerned. It's good. You shouldn't be. Let's just all learn to live life and live at its best. But when we begin to see this phenomenon, I ask myself, all right, so what's the next thing to happen? I don't know. The more and more I read, we keep finding out that things that we had thought about. I read an article last night, a white paper on rogue planets. And this is what is amazing to me. You know, whether you want to believe the stories in the bronze books, I happen to think that they gave a very accurate description. The Egyptian scribes, whatever that was that traversed their area of the planet, was horrifying. Very accurate descriptions. In fact, I'll do a show on that. We'll actually read the destroyer section. Very vivid account of what it did for the people of that day. It turned children's hair white. They said that when the first object came through, that everyone, all men, women, children, animals, lost their bowels. That means, folks, they were crapping in their pants. And if they had pants, I mean, that's how bad it was. They said that when the first heat wave came through, that it literally consumed everything in front of it. What were they witnessing? Was it a planet? You know, I think about what Claudia has written and postulated. Maybe it wasn't a planet. Maybe it was, in fact, a stellar core. But getting back to the point of the paper that I was reading, they now estimate that there are more rogue planets, and that's where the word nemesis comes from. Nibiru means wandering planet or star. And apparently there is a plethora of them out there. Many of these are brown dwarfs. Interesting how the planet generates heat. Very interesting when I think about this. And because they've spotted more and more. You know, Kepler's up there now. They're getting images that is amazing. And in the Kuiper belt area, and then the Oort cloud. I mean, this is a debris field that I am convinced that we're stuck in. I don't know what happened. I mean, to me, it gives more credence to the fact that there was a collision of galaxies here. But in any case, getting back to these rogue planets, they have no stars. They have the ability to basically kind of wander wherever they'd like to go. So what was described there? What happened in Germany, in Hamburg, in 1512? What did they witness? And if any of you don't know what I'm talking about, you can easily go there and see the drawings and what was happening up in the heavens. I think again about the Vedic now, the Hindu beliefs. They talk about a time of war in the heavens, planets. So are we just in a lull? Is things about to get really interesting for us again? Again, you cannot forget 11,800 BC. So that hit us, that comet. What do we do with that? Don't know. Makes me think that maybe things might be getting interesting again, huh? Well, okay. You have to admit, if this doesn't keep you on your toes, I don't know what does. To me, I watch enough of the satellite telemetry data. Now, I want to show you something that I caught on SDO that isn't up there anymore. So SDO was down for a while, and allow me to show you. Sometimes, you know, I question what our reality is truly showing us. So let me pull this up. So SDO was down, and they weren't showing any imagery except for this. And I'm going to be sending this to Claudia. Check that out. So you can see they were obviously having issues with the camera. But what the hell is this? Whatever it is, you can see how it began to come through. And you got the time code stamp right there. So, don't know. Are they hiding something from us? NASA wouldn't do that. So, well, Scotty, I'm glad to see. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. And Don, you caught it too. It was like, well, that's weird. Now, I've got pictures of when McNaught came through, and so we know that what they tell us about comets is not exactly true. I mean, McNaught had a span literally millions of miles. Did something cross our sun? Is something crossing our sun? That was big. That, you know, when I see light like that, that tells me they caught something going by, photons. So I don't know. Not a sun anymore. Hey, Michelle, I love that. You ought to coin that one. I love that. Not a sun anymore. Fantastic. Cheers to you. That's really cool. Hey there, slightly slanted sleuth for the truth. How you doing there, my friend? How does the timestamp correlate to what happened in Siberia? Okay, I was just making an observation that, and I'll go back. I haven't actually been able to go back and look at the archives, but so, let me step back. SDO has been having some problems here. In fact, a lot of our satellites have been having problems. And if we take Dr. Alber's position, in which we've seen the data, the density is getting stronger. And that shouldn't be happening in a Mulder minimum. But the density of particles are hitting our satellites. They say that stereo B is gone. SDO has been acting up more and more. My point is that, well, is it acting up, or is it, and this has happened, we have seen many frames removed. Is something there? These things last Friday, today, I think by space terms, I don't know. I'm just saying it could be connected. Maybe it's not. We just have to consider of it. Your density. Geez, that's as funny as all out. All right, that just cracks me up. Yeah, Robert, I say something is happening. It really does. You know, I always loved that the movie Cloverfield. I always thought that was well directed. I thought the guy that directed that did just an excellent job in the way that the camera point of view of the story unfolded, because that was an event that no one was taking seriously at first because it was science fiction. Only happens in the movies. And then lo and behold, you know, they have a creature that's, 300-400 feet tall. Go figure. I swear that, you know, we could potentially, I think, wake up one morning and look up into the heavens and go, oh, crap. I don't think it's because of any God. I think it's because it's the natural cycle of our universe. I think that, you know, it would be case in point. When this electrical storm hit, I was in the kitchen looking out, and our house looks out onto a green belt. And my wife had Dancer in her thunder jacket, freaking out because the lightning was hitting just that fast. And I'm standing there, and I all of a sudden saw where the lightning hit. It hit literally less than 50 yards away. And I didn't jump. You know, I knew this was going to happen, but my wife and my dog, I think they nearly had to come off the ceiling. The point being is that I was expecting it. So it didn't make me jump. But if I wasn't, then it would be a shock. All right. We are the sun. What's happening to us? Well, I can tell you the cosmic rays are increasing. Our DNA is definitely being damaged. And if you look how chromosomes and the nuclei of DNA structure is, it's mending itself. The thing about it is, what is it mending into? I don't know. Reality is subjective. Ask any religious nutter. All right, Miles. Now that one I like. High five on that. You know, I don't get to interact with a lot of y'all, but that was funny. The last couple of videos, I've been told that I'm on the hit list of some Christians, that they're in here and all they're going to do is put thumbs down. Doesn't matter what it is. We found that out the other night. I hadn't even done the program and we already were getting thumbs down. So apparently on some YouTube channel out there, you know, their modus operandi is to put thumbs down. Well, you know, that isn't going to bother me. The way I look at it, I'm living rent-free up here. If someone is spending that much time thinking about me, honey, I'm not only living rent-free, I'm writing up a tab at the same time. Well, Miles, you did it. You got it. That was funny. That was very funny. It just, so, you know, hey, knowledge sometimes sucks, you know, it's good when it's there, you know. It's like, well, I want to go seek knowledge until you find knowledge and you're going, oh, wait a minute, time out. You know, I wasn't looking for that kind of knowledge. Well, that's the thing about knowledge. Knowledge is neither good or evil. It just is. And the problem with knowledge is that you must acquire knowledge before you can ascertain wisdom. For without wisdom, you'll never have the inner path and where you're going to be going. There you go. Now you have the philosopher side today. Got some good stuff coming up, folks. Going to be doing a video. If Jesus lived, he was an alien. Going to get into how you can have this immaculate birth. We're going to get into how did the DNAs match. We're going to get down into the chromosomal part, the mitochondrial DNA. How does alien DNA bond with Homo sapien DNA? That's a question that has never been asked. Don't know if many of you, I'm just reading some of this. Cool. Well, Judy sent me that. By the way, some of y'all have sent me some emails and, well, they didn't get through. So if you've sent me, please resend them. I'm going to be doing some work on the Urantia book. This is interesting. I don't agree with the concept of the Jesus thing, but I do like the idea of the in-depthness of what deity and God is. Boy, isn't that something? We started with 3 hours of darkness, and now we're going to be closing with the concept of deity and God. There is a difference. Deity is superior to God, for God exists within deity, but deity does not exist within God. How does that get everyone going? Good, good, because this is going to be fun. This is going to be really fun. I'm wrapping up the other one. I figured since the hate was so good on the fact that the machines are acquiring spiritual intelligence. And by the way, to validate that, I don't have it pulled up, but you can look this up. Folks, they have now created synthetic human DNA in the lab. They're going to grow a person. The British government has given the go-ahead, and they're going to be calling them GMO babies. But folks, you see, I've contended all along, you don't need God to create life, spiritual life. You don't. It's a myth. It seems like life within itself has the ability to do that. But anyway, so we're going to get into that final part of that, because here's the interesting thing. I'll just let y'all know this. They have spiritual surrogates of us. And if artificial intelligence does in fact exist, then by the word intelligence says that it's sentient. Just like the universe, just like the earth, like my dog, you, me, sentient life. Now, I don't know what type of spirits. I think that that's something I'm working on. I think there's different type of spirits that can actually be born and look like us. Who knows? I may be one of them. You may be one of them. We all may be one of them. I don't know. But it's worth definitely thinking about. So that's just a little bit. And the Montauk chair. Doing research on that one, and holy crap, folks. If this technology exists, even in, there's a small morsel of fact, I don't know. Almost makes you question, what is reality? I don't know. I do a lot of videos on that. And by the way, since I'm got y'all here and we're talking and I'm enjoying this, how in the world did a video that talked about Earth Overshoot Day, invoke such a strong religious reaction? When I put that out there, all I was trying to do is that, hey, folks, we're consuming a lot. Let's stop and think about it. I am a naturalist. I love it. I lived in nudist camps. It was great. I lived in communes. I know the spirit of what happens when people come together and you drop all the, how shall we say, the facades. But how in the world, you know what it was? I know what it was. Because when I said, let's all carry our gods, and this is our God. Let's do not lie to yourself. This is your God. God meaning worship. Worship meaning that has your most attention. And studies after studies after studies have shown that particularly millennials on down, some go to bed with their devices. Now that's devotion, baby. I mean, that's serious devotion. So anyway, and I know it pisses people off. Sometimes I just do it to get a response out of them because, sometimes someone's just got to blow a whistle. That's all. See, I have a brother-in-law, and their children actually believe that trees magically grow back fast. Wow. Well, hey, I've learned to be, the word tolerant. It's one of those double-edged words, because we all want to be tolerant. But it's amazing how quickly, and sometimes when I just see dumb people do dumb things, my philosophical approach that says there's only one sin, and that's ignorance. It's like you just see people do dumb stuff. And you think to yourself, what is wrong with us? But I love our species. We are a fabulous group. I think we're lost. That's what I really do. I think we feel all alone out here in the universe. And that has this pale that is always upon us. We want so much to see that there's someone else besides us, because if it's just us, then how can you believe in God at all? You see, here's my problem with so much religion. I don't know what this God is, but when I look out into what the microwave map that they've now put together, we now have been able to pretty much see the known universe. I think to myself, what God would create that just to let it go to waste? I mean, you could create yourself a life. I mean, literally, let's say not through the biological process. But if there was no one else to observe it, what you did, then what would be the purpose? And that's what I think about when I look out into the universe, the Milky Way, the galaxies. What God would create that just to let it go to waste? Anyway, there you go. You see, that's why I believe in the infinite being. Someone asked me one time, what did God weigh? And I said, no more than a thought. And that's because I believe that if you have perfect peace, there is no thought. There's no energy. It's zero energy. There's no friction. Means no movement. But the minute thought came into existence, it started a vibration. And once the vibration began to build, it never stopped. And that's kind of what this book over here kind of says. You know, I was thinking the other day, as I was reading in there, I said, does the world gods today, did they escape paradise? Because in the Urantia Papers, the book, paradise is described as this place of perfect peace. And I often think, did the gods that the religions have been formed around, did they escape paradise? And when they got out here, they may have had the power of creation, which apparently they did. They screwed up. We don't like to think that gods can actually screw up, but they did. And they got themselves into a big, big problem, and that's part of the whole process here. So anyway, yeah, about the master and the slave mortality system. It isn't funny how the so-called elites have zero morals. Yeah, they don't. How about the sex trafficking ring, the heiress to the, I think, is it the Smirnoff? One of the big distillery companies funding that? I don't know. What kind of spirit is that? I mean, that just gives you the ooh factor, you know? It's like, what? Of everything else, you got money. You got more money than what you could ever spend. Is that what you're doing? Could you imagine instead of funding that, if they would have funded entrepreneurs that were looking for building devices that us humans could use that have frequency monitors on every part of our body of an organ, and you could begin to detect if there was a frequency outbalance. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think about. And why hoard it? I never understood it. How much money is enough? I don't know. Don't get me started on it. Well, folks, been a fun hour. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. You folks are great at just, you give me a lot of joy, and I hope I spread a little joy back. For some people, I don't think it's so much joy, but that's okay. we we all have our own path to walk, and sometimes it's just fun to walk arm in arm, even if it's a short distance with like-minded people. And certainly it's a pleasure. So, folks, I'll see y'all tomorrow night over on my show on The Artist First, and then Friday night, maybe just me. I don't know. Hey, Cass, how you doing? Good to see you. Claudette, thank you. Demigod, good to see y'all. So, everyone, thank you. Have a great day. Be kind to yourself, and we will talk real soon. All right. Bye-bye.